Hey there everyone, this is Samuel Johnson and welcome back to the Alien Force Retrospectives, and today we're going to be looking at episode 9 of Ben 10 Alien Force, The Gauntlet. And this episode begins with Ben, Gwen, and Kevin just fighting a robot. This very strong gladiator-looking robot that is called a Tekadon, which it's not called, we don't know it's called Tekadon in this episode. In fact, they just call it a robot in this episode, but it's named in the Ben 10 Alien Force video game, and we later learn, and that name is used in the show later on, but otherwise, never mind, that's just what it's called. Anyway, pretty much, as I just said, this robot is extremely powerful. It can shoot lasers, it's super strong, it's nearly indestructible, and anytime it's damaged, it's able to repair itself. As such, Kevin's arm, when Kevin gets stone armor, it can blast right through, though the armor protects him enough so that it doesn't damage his skin. Gwen's constructs can't stand up to this thing's physical or energy-based attacks. So pretty much, this thing is nearly unstoppable. As such, it's hard for Gwen and Kevin to beat it, but Ben is still, and meanwhile Ben's the Omnitrix is recharging, so but they manage to, during the battle, the Tekadon grabs Kevin and Gwen slices off its hand to protect Kevin, and so Ben used that opportunity to go alien and fight it. And I'm going to talk about the alien right now so I can just get on the rest of my thoughts I can just talk about my thoughts on the episode last time. I don't want to repeat before where I save it for the end when pretty much everything I want to talk about is done, so Ben unveils the number 9 alien so far, and alien is Goop. As the name implies, he is a giant living pile of slime. That's just really it. He's a giant green pile of green slime with a little UFO flying saucer anti-gravity disc above him that keeps his body stable. That's how he moves around. Without it, he's just Goop, pretty much. But a bonus is that he's indestructible. He can reshape himself in any way. He can be blown up and still come back together. It's really not. I think he's a kind of cool alien. I like the design. I think I like the design, and he is versatile and very nice. Yeah, I just like Goop. I just think he's a cool. Just name says it all. Giant living pile of slime. Maybe not very versatile, but it's kind of nice. So, yeah, I enjoy Goop. Anyway, Ben fights a Tekadon robot, but it's still too hard. But it's still getting stronger, and even after they slice off its hand, it starts to reform it. So Ben throws his body inside the Tekadon right from the open slot, and pretty much seeps into every crevice and piece of its technology, and causes the Tekadon to explode. The only remaining piece of it being left is the hand that was holding Kevin. So Ben reforms and Kevin throws the hand in his trunk, but later on when they stop at a restaurant, this is the first appearance of a restaurant that Ben kind of is Ben's the normal hangout. It's a place called Mr. Smoothies that has this weird cartoon smoothie cup as its mascot. Ben pretty much loves this place, and this episode is the first appearance, and it establishes that Ben loves it because you see Ben having smoothies in this place throughout the entire episode. It's just kind of it's not really a big point, but it's just something I want to talk about. It's just something amusing. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. I'm getting sidetracked. So while Ben is getting smoothies there, he runs into Dickheads 1 and 2, Cash and JT. As such, Cash and pretty much they're exactly how they were like in the original show, just older. They smack Ben's smoothies into his shirt, expect him to react, but he doesn't. Cash then tries getting out of his by pushing him, and when he gets his hand wet, he gets mad at Ben. But Ben, rather than probably do what 10-year-old Ben would do and just go alien and kick their butts, he actually takes a surprisingly mature route, and it's brutal. It pretty much, he just tells them, your stick's getting old. It's pathetic. You're what, like 15 now, or 6 or 17, whatever. Pretty much your whole bully shtick, it doesn't work on us anymore. We've all grown up, but you're still the same pathetic twat you were when we were all kids. So It's actually a pretty mature moment, and I like it. It still shows that Ben's gotten. It shows Ben's grown up. It's still really nice. Again, it's a really nice moment, and it's really good. But it gets the cash because it really did hit him, and everyone in the Smoothie place and Mr. Smoothies agree with Ben. So Cash just is pissed off at Ben. He wants to get revenge somehow, and while Key and JT are just wandering around that night, they see Kevin's car unattended, and so JT says that maybe some good revenge to try and reestablish his dominance is just to push Kevin's car down a hill, because at this point Kevin's kind of set himself up in Bellwood, and it's Kevin, so he's a tough guy. So that's what everyone. Excuse me. So that's what everyone. So everybody respects Kevin. So otherwise, they managed to push Kevin's car away because the brakes weren't on, apparently, or at least the parking brake. I don't know. Can you push a car? Probably. I think so. But can you push a car if the brakes are on? I don't know. You probably can. I don't know. Someone please correct me if you can't. But otherwise, I don't know. But anyway, they push Kevin's car down a hill, pretty much committing vehicular theft and vandalism. It manages to knock his trunk open, which knocks out a few pieces of alien tech. But Kevin hears what they did, so he chases after them. So they just grab the Tekadon hand and run off, and so they run to an old mannequin factory, and of course Cash is mad at JT because he didn't get anything valuable except the glove, but JT thinks it's cool, so he slaps it on, pretends it's a blaster, and it actually shoots something. It turns out that it still functions. So JT begins playing with it, but then Cash winds up getting greedy, and he yanks it off JT and tries it on himself the instant he comes on, he starts going a little crazy. As he says, it's mine. It says, with this I have power. With this I can make Ben pay. And he's not talking about like intimidate. No. He wants to outright kill him, which JT is kind of horrified with. And it gets even worse. And I think one of the best moments in the episode is the one that, and it really is creepy, is Cash is just kind of sleeping in a chair. So JT thinks this is the right time to get the glove off. But Cash is under a spotlight, so the majority of his body is in the light except for his like head, shoulders, and whatever. JT is trying to take. Hold on a sec. Sorry about that, dog. Anyway, it's a very cool scene because when he's trying to get the glove off of Cash, suddenly Cash's eyes open and they're red. His eyes are just glowing red, and it is a creepy visual because his head is just in the dark, and you kind of realize, this is more than just Cash work here. So JT goes to Gwen and Kevin because Kevin's still trying to fix his car after Cash and JT crashed it, and he tries warning them that something's up with Cash. He's after Ben, and Kevin, still peeved, he decides, I'm gonna go get revenge for what he did. He can pay for ruining my car, so he goes. So after JT spills where the mannequin factory is, because I probably mentioned that. He goes there, goes to see Cash, and it turns out that the arm is actually growing, as now it's not just a glove. It looks like there's metal muscles just growing up Cash's arm and over part of his body, and it turns out that it's not just his arm being affected now. He's getting stronger. He's becoming more durable, as when Kevin sees him beefed up, he reveals his powers to him, and for some reason when his powers are revealed, Cash is not surprised, and admittedly, it probably made more sense in his head, and maybe he's being influenced by the Tekadon at this point, but I don't know, because it's not even like, oh, you have superpowers. Suddenly this makes a lot more sense. No. He just sees Kevin with superpowers, and he's just like, okay, whatever, bam. That's really it. It's just kind of dumb. But because Kevin sees him getting beefed up, he decides to absorb to the stonework of the building and tries to fight him off. But Cash actually puts up a good big fight, as he can't feel any of Kevin's attacks. He's strong enough to throw Kevin into a wall. And his lasers, because they're from the Tekadon glove, are actually getting through Kevin's armor and hurting him. As such, Cash is able to completely subdue Kevin, And he tells Kevin that I want you to tell the kid Ben a message. Tell him to meet me in front of Mr. Smoothies at 3 or else I will find him. And as he's saying this, the muscle is just more of the metal is just growing around his body, and so stay. Sorry. I'm trying to keep him off the bed this time. No. Stay. You stay. No. I'm trying to keep him off the bed this time. I don't want the camera jiggling about or him just doing... Sorry, he was about to jump. Okay, you know what? I'm going to do the responsible thing. Be right back. Okay, now we're back together. Hopefully the dog does not just jump onto the... Hopefully the dog doesn't bother us later. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. So anyway, Gwen and JT find Ben because they haven't heard from Kevin, so they find him from Mr. Smoothies. They go to the mannequin factory and they find Kevin, who's in so much pain. He actually can't move. He's just lying there, and so Kevin tells Ben what Cash is doing, and so Ben decides to go face him and end this. And then when he finally sees him in front of Mr. Smoothies, at this point, most of the Tekadon body is actually formed around Cash. The only thing that hasn't been transformed is his head, and you can see that that more metal is starting to grow over that. Is starting to grow over that too. As such, he appears at Mr. Smoothies. Ben goes to fight him, but Ben tries to talk Cash down, but Cash is just too nuts. And when JT and Gwen appear, Cash tries attacking them, and Gwen avails her powers, and they don't seem shocked. I would be saying, you have superpowers too? What the hell? And what's even stupider is the fact that there's also people in the lot, by the way, so people now see this. And what makes it even better is that when Cash is about to attack JT and Gwen, Ben goes Chroma Stone and they fight it out, and Ben's still trying to talk Cash down and be responsible. And no one questions it. He doesn't like the closer we get from Cash is that you think just because you're some kind of freak that I'm gonna quit. But there's no comment about it afterwards. No big shock. Even JT doesn't seem to question it. I don't understand it. But and there are these witnesses. They're watching the fight. They would have seen Ben transform, or I don't know. Maybe Cash and JT didn't see Ben actually go alien, so maybe they think Chroma Stone's just one of the alien heroes. Maybe no one was looking at Ben. I don't know, because it doesn't make sense. These people saw Ben one place, then giant purple crystal guy next, and I don't understand it, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense, especially with Ultimate Aliens beginning. Cash, apparently, now everyone in school knows, even though this should show that maybe a few people in Bellwood would know. I don't know. And it's never mentioned again. It's just ignored through the rest of the show. I don't know, and I don't care. In fact, actually, you know what? I do care a little, or else I wouldn't be dedicating my time to this, but Cash and JT, they don't really appear after this episode, except in the beginning of Ultimate Alien, and in one episode that just helps that further exemplifies how big losers they are. But yeah, that's another thing that's important about this episode. I'll get to that later. But pretty much, Ben is actually better at Cash and fighting, but Cash says that even if he wants to stop, he can't. The Tekadon wants to fight, and it actually starts forming the helmet around his head, but JT is able to talk to Cash, say, you're the toughest kid in school, you can't let this thing control you, you own it. And so Cash is able to strike up the will to actually resist the Tekadon, and it somehow reverses the entire transformation back down to a glove, so they're able to rip it off of him. So Cash and JT walk away better. I guess everyone else gets amnesia because they saw Ben go alien, and Cash and JT never bring it up again. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. And then there's also and then after that, and Ben and Gwen walk away realizing they need to make sure that the Tekadon hand doesn't get into anyone else's hand clutches, or else it'll be a repeat. But they realize that they're thinking they forgot something, and it honestly ends on a funny note when it cuts back to the mannequin factory and Kevin's still in there. It is rather amusing, so. Yeah, if you can't tell from my little outburst, I think the episode's just kind of weak in some areas. There are some good components to it, but I think it's a your mileage may vary episode. And for me, it's just like I can't really get disdain towards it because there are still some good aspects about it. For one thing, I do like seeing Ben be more mature with against Cash and JT, wherein when he was 10 he probably would have gone alien, though maybe when he was 10 he would have been more mature, but it does show how much he's matured. I like seeing kind of this. I do kind of like in some ways kind of an episode exemplifying how one-dimensional Cash and JT are, especially when that one-dimensional aspect helps turn Cash into a supervillain when he finds the glove. And it actually is kind of an interesting transformation because it's in a very easy transition, and it's not just from the Tekadon exerting influence over Cash once he wears the glove. Because when JT wore the glove, he just saw it as a toy. He just liked playing with it. But when Cash put it on, he was just kind of more violent with it. Because he's a tough guy. His entire personality is built around his image. That's exactly what he wants to do, and as such, when he gets the glove, it seems like it's actually it's finding something in that part of his personality, and as such, that's how it kind of grows. Like, it wants to fight, but it's using Cash's own want to be considered the best, to be great, to not be the butt of anyone's joke, to actually take root in him. It's actually rather nice, and I kind of like seeing it because you can kind of see it, and at the same time, you know that Cash is just a dumb teenager, but at the same time, he's one of those kind of kids who just loves having attention, and so it kind of makes sense that in some ways he would have this power, and it does make it a little harder. I do like harder to see what part's him and what parts of the Tekadon until it's outright stated. I do like that. It's rather nice, and again, there's still some nice parts in it, especially when the Tekadon does start exhibiting its influence over Cash. When I mentioned the whole red eyes in the darkness scene, I thought that was really creepy. I like see, and I did. There are. It's just that it's an episode that tries to focus more on Cash and JT as characters, and honestly, even in the original show, they're not that interesting. They're just the generic bullies that Ben has. That's it. In the original show, even every one of their appearances, that was the case. The first episode, they were just bullies there to help set up Ben's personality. In the Unnaturals episode, they were just annoyances from Ben's past. In Goodbye and Good Riddance, they were still annoyances that Ben still had to deal with, despite the fact that he was better than them. And even in Race Against Time, they were just there. They were just in the background to show that they were still there. So to have an episode kind of trying to make them more than just one-dimensional villains, and my dog came in, he's on the bed. Hopefully he stays over there. But anyway, just kind of having an episode focused on them in some ways makes sense, but at the same time, I don't really feel like it was needed, especially since Cash and JT aren't central characters throughout the rest of the show. Like, they mentioned in this episode that apparently JT and Ben were close in, like, the first grade, but then he started hanging out with Cash, and that's when he became a jackass, but honestly, it doesn't serve the plot much, aside from just showing that JT's kind of subservient, which we kind of already knew. We kind of already knew from that, because in Race Against Time, he was always saying, "Oh, good one, Cash," or in the Unnaturals, he was just providing support while Cash was the one that took all the fame and glory. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if we really honestly. I suppose you could say it helps make the world more palpable, but honestly, it may not actually. I don't think it really added much. I think it would have been interesting if Cash was trying to I feel in some way it could have been interesting, like maybe see maybe Ben feeling sorry for Cash, try to help him get over the glove. Maybe help him maybe help him become better. I don't get it. We get some of that, but kind of just to see China JT, even JT doesn't really maybe I thought it would be. In fact, it's not even that great with JT and his comment with Cash. It does because they say that he's subservient, but he's the one that helps Cash in the end. So maybe they're good friends. I don't know. The ending is also the dumbest part. That's kind of something that is a common thing in in Alien Force. Now that I think about it, not all episodes have dumb endings because they do feel like real conclusions for some of them, but other ones just feel abrupt or too cheesy or whatever. And this episode's no exception. It just feels abrupt and just a little corny, and it doesn't. And the rest, and for the rest of the episode, and aside from the Tekadon robot, and maybe Goop, the episode's kind of ignored. Like, there's no real repercussions for it, and Cash and JT never appear again in this. Never appear again until the first episode of Ultimate Alien. So, yeah, it's just kind of an episode. It doesn't really evoke any hate in me, because there are still some good aspects to it that I do enjoy when they're on. And again, I like Goop. I like the opening fight scene. It actually feels like something out of the original show. They even make a comment about it. That's actually something that's something you might be hearing me say sometimes in this vlogs, because this show kind of tries to be a little meta here and there, but not a lot. But otherwise, yeah, it's just for me, it's just eh. If you enjoy it, good for you. There are some things in there that I genuinely like, but the rest, the plot, I find the plot to be dumb. I find the plot to just be weird. I don't really understand having a Cash and JT episode, and the resolution just kind of, and the resolution, some of the myth and the pathos just don't. I don't know. They don't sit well with me. I don't know. So, yeah. Thank you for watching. I'm Samuel Johnson, and tune in next week where Ben Tennyson meets the Doctor. I mean the Doctor. I mean Professor Paradox. I mean the Doctor. See you then.